evening, folks. Welcome to 406 Regen. I'm not sure if you're able to hear me or not in this, but I'm going to make a video on it and we'll see. This mower is kind of loud. It's one of those things where where you question if you're making the right decision or not. But we got the mower hooked up, laying down the cover. What's out here? It's very hard on my brain to be going through stuff like that and just mowing it down. But like saying, I'm gonna open up the canopy for the seeds to grow. Also, it'll keep this vegetative longer for the sheep. When the seeds do grow and get up and mature, it'll all be about close to the same time. In theory, anyway, like I said, it's one of those decisions you make. You're not quite sure if it's the right one or not, but you're gonna give it a go, So it's taken us quite a bit to get this thing going and change a few U-joints on it. No sooner got out here and made a pass and a half and blew a belt. So I'm down a belt. That one rear U-joint back there on the back part of the mower is not very happy, so we're going to be changing that tomorrow with the belt. That's why I'm missing a little on this outside edge. I'm not running all the blades, but it seems to be doing okay. It's leaving, it's just cutting it up, putting the residue down where it needs to be. So I'm hoping this is the right call, I guess, if you will. So yeah, we had a good 20-minute to half-inch worth of rain yesterday. Got soaked. I mentioned that in my previous video. That's going to be coming up. So just got out there. We tried to beat the storm to get them all moved, and we just got absolutely drenched. But so the seed out here has not half an inch. It's about 3/4 of an inch. Sorry, has about 3/4 of an inch of water on it from yesterday. So, and the forecast is kind of looking like we might get thunder showers all throughout the week in the afternoons here and there. So yeah, hopefully they're kind of accurate. Gonna be going on a road trip tomorrow. I was messaging a lady in one of the rehoming groups for dogs in the state. She's got a year-old Karakachan that she's wanting to rehome because he's hard on the chickens. So I'm going to be doing a road trip, going and picking him up to bring into my dogs. He's a little bit bigger, probably not as mature as I would like. Obviously, he wasn't trained. He's basically he's bigger. He's a bigger puppy than the two I got. Is what I'm thinking of. As far as maturity wise, and he is also physically bigger in the photos anyway. I haven't got to see him yet, but so I'm going to pick him up tomorrow, do a little maybe even swing by a river and put in a line for a little bit. So yeah, my brother will be running this tomorrow once he gets that other belt and that U-joint fixed, and we'll get this 100-acre plot kind of knocked out and mowed down. Because with these rainstorms we're getting, this should it'll help the young seeds I just plant grow, but also there's a lot of young grass and a lot of young alfalfa that hasn't had a chance to grow in the last couple years in the drought, and they're really small plants yet. So I'm hoping if opening up this canopy a little bit, as long as we don't get too hot and burn them out, we'll actually help them grow better, and they'll be able to express themselves even better, and it'll fill in. Like you can see, this is just a clay hillside. You know, we worked way up on this hill. Probably shouldn't have done that, but it was part of the field from the old days gone by, so. Yeah. As you can tell, you know, that looks desert right there. And it's very, last year, when I head west of us, and just kind of looking around, it was very easy to tell and very scary how close to an actual desert Montana's actually becoming. You know, if we get a 10-year drought, I don't hardly think we'd look much different than Arizona, to be honest with you. Maybe in the mountains, but out here in the prairies, I think it wouldn't take us about that long, because, yeah, it wasn't looking any too good last year. Of course, this was after harvest. You know, people were harvesting, and you look around the countryside, it's all brown. There's no green nowhere, unless you go up into the mountains, of course, and that's just your trees. So, yeah, it's very scary to see how close the state can actually be turned into a desert with no water. If that water valve gets turned off, I'll tell you what, it's not a pretty sight. So far this year, we've been getting our rains pretty regularly here, which is awesome. It's what's allowing us to be able to kind of experiment a little bit harder than the last couple of years. Even though, you know, we put seed in the ground and tried, we actually reseeded this field last year with just leftover seed we had from the previous year because it wasn't doing it too well. So it's actually doing quite well now. It will be, you know, once we get that, you know, we got the rye and the buckwheat, purple top turnip, brown flax, daikon, forage radish, winter triticale, and lentils all planted on this 100 acres, so it should be fairly decent. It's very exciting to see. Can't wait. Some of the other ground, I'll have to do another pasture walk with everybody. I was up at that little well house coulee again, and it is filled in really nice. You can't even tell there's hay there. It's as much, you know, it's growed up really nice. It's filled in really nice. So here in a little bit, the milk cow is probably going to end up on that nice rich stuff. Hillsides things tend to go down the hill on you when you're not looking, so you gotta actually kind of be in a climbing hill position when you go sideways on a hill, especially when I'm not using an outside blade. But this mower is doing a fairly decent job now that we got 80% of the kinks worked out. So speed up a little bit. Yeah, so still out here in this field going circles. That's why, like Greg, Judy, and everybody, you know, you can't afford to spend that much time in a tractor. For a lot of people, that, you know, this is a lot of time to be in the tractor. And if I wasn't trying to improve my screw ups before, I'd probably, you know, if I wouldn't have touched it, I would just try to graze across it and try to build it up. But since I have, and I want to do as quick of improvements as I can, I'm going to try these cover crops in it. That might, you know, that might mean buying a new drill in a couple years, a year or two, that'll allow me to drill into stuff that hasn't been messed with, like that right in there. They're called pasture drills, but you know, they're expensive, and they're not that big. You know, they're only 10, 15 feet, which 10 foot wide, you know, that don't get you a very big pass on a field like this. But So yeah, we're just going in circles. As you can tell, it does a pretty good job. It must have been slipping here with that belt going out on me. We tightened up the belts, got everything greased. You know, my brother and I spent freaking a day and a half on this mower, basically. It will be, trying to get it going into good usable condition. But you know, that's when you borrow equipment, you always want to try to give stuff, whether it be equipment or vehicles, you always want to bring stuff back nicer than how you received it. You know, if you go borrow someone's car and it's dirty, run it through the car wash, bring it back to them with a full tank of gas. You know, that's just the thank you for, hey, thanks for helping me out and let me borrow your car or truck, whatever it is. You want to try to return things in better condition than you took it. It's just kind of the right thing to do, and that ensures that, you know, they don't feel like they got a bad end of a trade on you, or, you know, they're not going to say, no, you're not touching my stuff again next time if you come into that position. And also that way, if, you know, you end up borrowing them something, it'll be in, you know, that kind of condition you get it back. You expect things to be nice. And so that's just, you know, when you trying to illiquid on money at the moment, it's a good thing to do. And like I say, it'll be good to have people be able to help out when you can, back and forth. It builds that community, if you will. Whereas if somebody's always letting their stuff out, it keeps coming back broke and trashed, and they gotta fill it up, stuff like that. Eventually, they're gonna say, no, I cannot afford to lend out my equipment. So, anyway, this side out here is just a dirt. There's no biology, no soil, no life in this end, hardly at all. So I almost don't want to mow it, but yet I still want to try to put this cover down, so I'm gonna. But yeah. Anyway, so that's me, just out here going in circles. Putting the AC on. Hopefully y'all can hear me all right. Now, it doesn't sound like I'm yelling into the camera or whatnot. That mower has a different drone to it, so I can't tell. I'm wearing earplugs. Had to slow it down now that I gotten a little bit of thicker stuff, but as you can tell, it's doing a fairly decent job of mowing it down. You know, my brother and I, we put different stops in it. Got it as high as it will absolutely go, as far as the height on the cutting blades. So yeah, now it's just doing this, and like I say, hopefully making the right decision on it. That's hard to say, but you never know. But I cannot wait until I can get the anvils out here, grazing this down, and get some of this ground built up. Like this coulee out, sorry, I'm in the middle of the corner. This out here doesn't ever grow nothing. I can't put a tractor or implement out there because it's always just kind of wet, and it's drainage from all those farm fields up there. Now those farm fields, those aren't part of our place, but we end up with the drainage of all the wonderful stuff they put on their seeds to make them grow. I'm really hoping someday I'm gonna have trees and everything planted out here down this whole coulee, so I got some shade and trees, making better wildlife habitat out here for that kind of stuff. Because deer will absolutely love that. I'm planning on planting black locust. I think grows fairly decent over here. It does a little bit close to the mountains anyway, so I'm not sure if it'll grow here or not. But I'm going to try black locust trees because they're supposed to grow up pretty quick. They don't have thorns on them like honey locust. So they should do pretty decent. But so this is my evening now here, folks, is to keep going in circles until my brother and them come get me to help move the sheep, or until dark and they move the sheep without me. I'm not sure which. I did notice a longhorn earlier today. It was kind of walking around with a tail in the air, so she might be getting close here. We'll see. Anyhow, y'all have a good evening.